Many people, including Philza, Luke the Notable, Waxfraud, and lots of others, probably including you, have all created and lost a Minecraft hardcore world. One death, no respawns, the end. While the story of their success is beautiful, topic of today is going to be failure. We're going to look at my latest hardcore world attempt to check out what common mistake leads to 90% of all hardcore worlds to fail. So I started off this world just like any other world, spawned in, took a look around, got a feel for my surroundings, and then I immediately went to the closest tree so I could start getting some wood. Mining my first tree, I knew that I had the tree cutter mod installed, so my first course of action was to get an axe. Once I had an axe, I knew that I could just mine as many trees as I wanted as quickly as humanly possible. For those of you who don't know, tree cutter just makes it so you'll see in a minute, but as soon as you cut down one log, the whole tree comes with it. It's one of my favorite mods. It adds just a quick little bit of utility help to the game. After that, I knew I could just make a wooden pickaxe and then start digging out some stone right away, make stone tools, get rid of that wooden shit. Then I went around just in the surrounding area getting coal and some more stone, mining out every single little bit of coal I could using the Vein Miner mod. As I went and continued to explore, I was collecting as many seeds as possible. I noticed a giant pit straight to hell and decided to avoid it, knowing that early game was the hardest part and I was going to need food before anything else. So I marked these two pigs and kept her moving. Moving along, I ran into this big ravine. I thought maybe I'd be able to find my first bit of iron, so I started peeking down there and I tried using the third person view to get a better look at the wall that was closest to me. And I realize now, in hindsight, I was being pretty risky there. If I fell, that would have been game over. I wouldn't have lost much, but still would have sucked. Moving along, I knew that nighttime was going to be coming shortly, and I didn't have any sheep for wool, so I couldn't make a bed. I figured leaves would be the best spot to be, because mobs can't spawn there, and it gives me a higher vantage point so I can look at my surroundings. As the night began to set, I still didn't have any sheep, so I knew I would probably be better off if I just started mining now. Looking down into this cave, I saw a bunch of light, so I killed one more pig to tide me off for the night, and started going down to check out this lush cave biome. The first thing I saw was a skeleton, who had me running for my life, freaking out because I didn't have anything, no food, no shield, so I protected myself off, and my first course of action was light, so I made some torches, crafted a furnace, and got my food going. Then I got my first piece of iron. It was just sitting in this cave with me. It was only one piece, which sucked, but it was enough to make a shield, so I felt confident enough to start running around and just look for any piece of ore that I could find and take it. At this point, my stone pickaxe broke, so I smelted up some iron that I had found and killed my first zombie. After my iron was done smelting, I decided to make a pickaxe. That way, if I found diamonds or anything else, I could mine it right away. I also decided to craft a sword just so I wasn't stuck using my axe with a slow swing time. Mining as much iron as I can, I ran into my first creeper, and using my shield I just let it blow up. I knew glowberries and lush biomes weren't all that common to my knowledge, so I was trying to grab as much as I could. I also crafted a water bucket, that way I could protect myself from fall damage or make my way down from heights, or up for that matter. Then I got my first bit of gold, mining out every single ore I came across. I started smelting up enough iron, that way I could make full iron tools and full iron armor and be entirely protected. Finishing that out, threw on my clothes. Then coming through the lush biome, I found an axolotl. So I took my water bucket and I picked him up because I need an axolotl in my life. Crafted a new bucket and kept it moving. And then mining down, I heard a bunch of spiders, and sure enough, it was a cave spider spawner inside a mine shaft. So I dug down and took them out one by one from the top, and they just kept spawning quicker than I could take them out. And so I did get hit once and affected with poison, but I managed to get 2 torches on, went up and healed, came back, and the spiders were being really weird, getting stuck on the ceiling, so torching it up was super easy. And so I killed the rest. I knew I'd be able to come back to that at some point, so then I left and just kept running around getting deeper and deeper until finally I had found the jackpot. The first block was only a 1 vein, but that's fine because there was 2 more right next to it. And in most survival worlds, I try to just speedrun through the game as quick as possible. I'll usually wait until I can get Fortune 3 to start mining more diamonds, and I'll stick with iron tools until then. But in hardcore, I like to just get as many diamonds as possible and stack myself up right away. So I spent the rest of day 3 down there, and finally made my way back up to the surface. And upon reaching the surface, it was nighttime, and as much armor as I had, I didn't really want to test my luck. I didn't have food, I didn't have a base, my inventory was full. Coming along, I ran into this nether portal, and as it turned into daytime, I decided to make a little base right next to this lava pool. I planned on mining out some obsidian, but first we had to get this sheep. And I spent all day following this sheep around, and he would not grow it back. It took forever. I kept running around. I found pigs, but there was no other sheeps that were white. There was one other baby sheep that was white, and I had a feeling that he would probably grow up somehow quicker than the other sheep would get hungry, which sure enough did happen. So I ran back up over to him and ended up finding a group of 5 more white sheep that just spawned in. I was pretty upset, so I killed them all, got their food, and then crafted my first bed. Then here's me mining that obsidian I was talking about. Don't really need that, but I finally went to sleep, and when I woke up, phantoms were there waiting for me still. So I killed them and kept it running, and then I saw something on the mini-map, and slowly but surely, it came into view. My first village. And a cherry blossom biome. I really love the way cherry blossom biomes look, so I planned on just looting up the village, taking every single block of hay, and then running over there. The village had a blacksmith and stuff, but there was just like 2 iron bars. There was nothing good in there. So what I thought was cherry blossom biome ended up being 2 trees. As shitty as that was, there was another one nearby, so I wasn't too concerned. Plus, I could always just plant more. Set up a little area with chests and furnaces and got to work. Destroyed these 2 trees and immediately placed down all of the saplings that I could. And then as it turned to night, I decided to torch the place up, that way mobs wouldn't be spawning on me. However, I wanted bone meal so I could make these trees grow faster, so I went monster hunting, so I went skeleton hunting. The first 2 skeletons killed each other, and didn't drop any bones, and the rest of the time the zombies and the creepers and spiders, they were all just following me around. And I don't think I've ever seen a zombie horde get this big. There was just so many. I stayed out pretty much all night trying to kill skeletons, and I didn't get lucky at all. I got 1 singular bone from 5 or 6 different skeletons. I gave up, went back to sleep, and then destroyed all of the cherry blossom trees that had grown up overnight. Replanting all the saplings, I knew that I wanted to have the whole mountain flat and covered up in some sort of cherry blossom buildings. So, iron tools weren't going to work for terraforming, and I had plenty of diamonds to spare, so I made full diamond tools. Armor could wait, but a diamond shovel was what I needed if I was going to be breaking and destroying all of this dirt. Spent most of the next day or 2 destroying dirt and placing dirt, and I knew that I was probably going to need some friends. I was getting lonely. So I built a little pen, led my cows over, and then started breeding. Like I said, I continued to terraform. The amount of time that I spent using a non-enchanted diamond shovel to break all of this is genuinely insane. I finally finished going through my first diamond shovel, so I crafted a new one, and then immediately got right back to it. Getting down to the first layer of stone, finally switched to my pickaxe, and started getting a little bored of mining, so like a normal human, I started placing instead. With nearly a full double chest full of dirt, I was set to totally terraform this island in any way that I wanted. I wanted to start by completely flattening the top layer, that way I could have a circular area of cherry blossom trees. After enough time destroying dirt, all of these cherry blossoms were done, so I finished breaking all of those and finished with over 11 stacks of logs. Not even planks yet. Then I knew these pink petals were very, very pretty and I liked them, but I wanted to be able to put them where I chose, and I could always bone meal those too, so I picked them all up and then went to bed. The First thing I did waking up on day 11 was go down and try to start torching up some of the caves beneath my house. This was kind of a pain because caves now are unreal. It's super hard to get every little nook and cranny and every little spot, and I figured if it was going to be close to the surface, I'd have better luck just filling it in. On my way back up, the horse was still stuck, so I pushed him out of there and filled up all the holes on the surface. I really wasn't sure what to do. I didn't want to rush this process of hardcore, and you really shouldn't, and that's ultimately what led to my downfall on this world. So I kept destroying some dirt and finished going through my second diamond shovel, and then I only had 3 diamonds left after crafting this one, and I knew I was going to need more, especially for going to the Nether. I wanted full diamond armor before even thinking about that. So I went around looking for one of the caves that I had found, and then I found one. So I went down there, lighting it up as I went, because it wasn't too far from the surface. Lit it up quite a bit, and then just started going down. I figured my luck would be best the lower I went. Then these skeletons decided to duel each other right in front of me, so I watched them battle it out like a true champion, and then killed the winner, also like a true champion. As I went down, I was mining every little bit of coal, iron, gold, redstone, lapis, any important ore other than copper. I really just don't need copper right now. After a little while, I ran into another mine shaft, and it led me right to this huge area that had a perfect cave spider spawner for me. I had big plans on using this, and I was going to make a farm for it, so I went down there and started to light it up. And then the creeper and everything else just overwhelmed me, and I looked and saw that I had 4 hearts, and freaked out. I started running as far as I could away from every mob as fast as possible, just to build myself off and save myself. The poison ticked me down to half a heart, so 1 hit from anything meant that the world was done. Eating my bread, I healed up and then went up instead of coming back out the same way. Good thing I did too, because I found this chest in a minecart and it had 2 diamonds for me right off the bat. And a name tag, but I never ended up using that. Moving back, I torched up the rest of the spawner, so that way no more cave spiders could spawn in and poison me. I was confident that I could take on everything else. So after killing some mobs, I came back to get some rails. I wasn't sure how I planned on moving the villagers over to my house from that village, but I figured using these rails would be the easiest. Then I spent some time running circles around these skeletons until they somehow killed a creeper without me even realizing. I managed to get that music disc and then ran into a zombie villager. Continuing down, I ran into some skulk, bunch of lava pools, and after a long time of just strip mining, I figured it was time to go home, and the long haul had finished clean. I dug out into the water, and I had no idea where I was. My minimap did not show me any places I recognized, but after some slight looking around, I recognized a biome that I could see in the distance, and I knew which direction to go. So I made it back home. I immediately put all of the ore into the furnaces and started smelting it, and started listening to the music. That's definitely one of my favorite music discs. Then I made some diamond armor. Like I said, I wasn't even going to think about the nether until I had at least that. Giving myself a new shield and making an infinite water bucket for my sugarcane. I didn't have anything else to do, so I went right back to terraforming. I really do recommend that you take as much time as possible to just prepare and build and thrive in your world. You have to live in the world. You can't just speed run through and then focus on building. You will get too burnt out. You have to leave things to do. Then I made a diamond hoe using the 63 diamonds that I had dug up. And I made my first farm. It was just a simple little wheat farm with a few potatoes planted at the bottom. But that's all I really needed. I killed a cow to get a little piece of leather, and then spent a lot of time just getting moss. Feeding my cows in between. I needed food, and the cows seemed lonely, so I built them another pen. And then I got both sheep and some chickens. And then just like that, the cows weren't very lonely anymore. But all of the other animals outside, they felt pretty unfortunate for them. Using the leather from that cow I killed, I made my first enchantment table. And I knew I wouldn't be able to get level 30 enchantments. But being as all my tools had already been used, I figured I could just start with level 1s. As I was harvesting and placing some sugarcane in the morning, a creeper came out of nowhere, and if I wasn't paying attention, I think he would have gotten the jump on me. Having all of my chests out in the open like this is definitely a cause for concern. Oh well, let's just dig some dirt. I dug and dug and dug and dug and dug, making sure to go back and feed all the animals in between. If I wasn't digging, I was placing, filling in every little gap, all the holes, making sure no mobs could spawn. It was definitely a calming experience. I haven't just terraformed like this in a long time. I also made sure to get rid of as much tall grass and seeds as I could while I was on the way. Even with diamond armor, I really wanted to have fire resistance potions. So I made my way back to the village and grabbed their brewing stand without realizing that I needed blaze rods to even make them, and magma cream. On the way back, I picked up more seeds and glass, and then went to bed. Feeding all the animals as much as I can whenever I can, I smelted all my sand into glass and took the steak that I had. This is when I realized that I needed the blaze rods to even make fire resistance. So I figured I might as well make a portal and check out where it leads me. It spawned me in a soul sand biome with a ghast shooting fireballs right at my nether portal. So I was kinda scared, but I did have my flint and steel, so I wasn't too concerned. He kept playing cat and mouse with me, and he trailed down into this little crater, so I went to chase after him, and I found my first nether fortress right off of spawn. I killed the ghast, after quite some time, teabagged him a little bit, and then made my way over to that nether fortress. Along the way, there was a skeleton with full iron armor, which I have not seen in quite some time. I forget that hard mode will spawn crazy mobs like that. But going down, I played it super safe, built a bridge, made sure I had torches, dirt. And this nether fortress was really, really nice. It was fully covered, so I didn't have to worry about blazes flying around. I shouldn't say fully covered, but for the most part. And all I had to do was run straight. In the very first room that I went searching in, there was a blaze spawner. So I sat here for about 15-20 minutes, just mining around the spawner as I went, because that's supposed to increase your spawn rates, and it definitely does. I was getting 2 or 3 blazes spawning each time rather than 1. There was a few wither skeletons, but placing the 3 blocks above my head just made it so they couldn't even hit me, and it wasn't a problem. I made my way back to the overworld with 17 blaze rods, feeling really good about myself. At this point, I knew once I wanted to go to the end, all I needed was ender pearls. When I made it out of the nether, it created its second portal on the other mountain from my house. I wasn't too happy about that, so I broke that portal, hoping that it just wouldn't come back. Thank God it didn't. And then made my way back home, where I realized that just blaze powder still wasn't enough. So, like normal human, I went back. Mining up gold, I took a huge fall because I was not being cautious. I was not being patient. I didn't even need that gold, but I found the nether wart, got all the soul sand I needed, and went back home. On my way back to the nether portal, I found my first enderman, and like a boss, took him out just using a shield and no cover. It wasn't very hard. Even with full diamond armor and some protection 1, he still does 2 hearts with every hit. So I made my way back home, took a nap because it was dark out, and then started day 20. I took all that nether wart and started a little 32 block farm just to get me a sufficient supply. And all my other animals were begging me to get some horses. So I spent a long time trying to figure out which of the horses on my mountain were actually worth getting, built them a little pen, and then figured all of them were super bad, so I would have better luck just breeding them and then killing them off. Breeding their kids and killing them off, you know? Anyways, I got those horses there. All 4 of them. It wasn't too hard. And then just chilled for the rest of day 20, mining and crafting. At the start of day 21, there was an enderman right at my base, so I looked at him and did the same thing, but realized I didn't have a shield, so I would have to have cover. I sprinted away and built a little roof over my head, and killed him with ease, getting my first ender pearl. Looking over the mountain, I saw the first group of pillagers coming, so I went and I killed them all with ease, because they suck. And then just dug some more dirt. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't know what to do, just go dig some dirt, man. Just go mining. Minecraft. I never forgot to feed the animals, don't worry, they were continuously growing. But I did complete my double chest full of dirt blocks. Thinking that I could maybe get apples from azalea trees, I spent some time just using my bone meal on them. Realizing that it was super pointless and it wasn't gonna work, I figured I might as well just go to the nether and go over to the warped biome and kill some endermen, that way I was prepared to go to the end whenever I wanted to. Now realistically, I should have just went for netherite or went mining for something else or doing pretty much anything else but trying to push my luck and rush the game quicker than it needs to go. I spent over 3 stacks bridging out, and then to my surprise, I was still only about halfway, so I had to run all the way back home. And on my way home, I didn't place torches on this, so a bunch of piglins had spawned, and I was getting pretty nervous about that. I looked at an enderman on my way through the portal, and to my surprise, he followed me through, so I dealt with him real quick, gaining 1 more pearl. And took a nap. Day 23, I grabbed a bunch more dirt and headed right back into the nether to continue bridging out. On my way through the fortress, there was a hoglin blocking my path, and my heart dropped here. I did not think I was going to make it into that hole. It wasn't bad though. I survived. I killed the baby. And by the time I went back home, they weren't even there. If I made it back home. On my way over the bridge, I kept placing torches, that way no piglins would spawn and I wouldn't have to deal with all that bullshit. Towards the end of the bridge, a hoglin had spawned. This was cause for concern because I know their reach is pretty far. So I was inching my way closer, just trying to do as little damage as possible, and it worked. So I just kept bridging. After a long time, we made it. Started building down, built a little staircase and give myself room to work with, little platform, make sure that I can build, make sure that I can move around. I knew the first thing that I was going to want was a little platform to block my head and a roof to make sure the Endermen can't come get me. So I did exactly that and got to work with killing them. My favorite part about the Nether is you can use the piglins to trade with and get ender pearls, or you can just kill the endermen in the warped forest because they spawn like crazy. I just kept moving around on top of the trees, getting the attention of them, killing a bunch of them, and expanding the platform. That way I could get a better vantage point and see more of them. I also realized I had the tree cutter mod, so I could just break a bunch of the trees. So I did that. I used those materials to expand the platform even more. Building up, I could not see any Endermen around me, and I was getting pretty annoyed with it. I wanted to be able to just finish them out. So I started running around and coming back to the little roof that I had made, and it was working. I had killed quite a few Endermen. They just kept coming one by one, and it was no problem. At this point, I had 7 ender pearls, and I knew that I was going to be going back home soon, and I only needed a few more. I was ready to get out of the Nether and just call it, so I just started running around on the floor collecting mushrooms looking for Endermen. Now at this point, I'm not sure what went through my head. I think it was partially just length of playtime, partially just tired, I don't know. But in my mind, instead of leading them one by one and killing them all within safety and a roof under my head, I thought that it would be a better idea to just run around killing them. And it got to a point where I had mushrooms, I had the wood, I had netherrack, every material that I wanted at the time I had. And so I just ran around punching all of these Endermen, thinking that I would make it back to my cover and I would be able to just kill them all. And if that had worked, it would have been great. But by the time I had even a chance of making it to safety, I was only at 4 hearts. And as you can see, they pinched me into a wall as I stupidly tried to mine my way in. Basically, you need to be cautious. As you saw, I got way too complacent and I made the mistake of not treating it as if I had one life. The most common mistake is that people don't treat it like it's their only life. All you have to do is plan out your moves and take caution when you execute those plans. Don't make the same mistake I did and many others have made. There can be unfortunate accidents, but 90% of players just aren't cautious. They just aren't thinking. I just wasn't thinking about the Endermen. That was the end of my world. Anyways, I'm going to be playing some modded Minecraft next. I'm going to get some terrain generation. It's just vanilla plus, but see you next week. Peace out.